think it's very important that I explained to the general public how oil prices are not created. They are not created by some evil star chamber of dealers and CEOs of oil companies in some darkened room in the middle of the night who decide for the rest of the world what the price of oil will be. It is a much more complex process than that. Markets are extremely complex systems, and as such, to try and understand them and distill them down into something so simple is, I think, not only is an exercise in futility, but it's also a bit disingenuous. The media likes to whip up the public against a certain boogeyman, and in this case, I think it was the oil speculators. Now, I'm not a speculator myself, so I'm not talking my book per se, but I am somebody who's in the market enough to know the difference between hyperbole and reality. Now, like a lot of trends, and like a lot of bubbles that we've seen in any market, regulated or not, what happens is people get ahead of themselves. Human nature takes over and the greater fool theory starts to kick in. And the same thing that happened to people in the dot-com craze and people in the housing craze happened to oil speculators as well. They got ahead of themselves to the point where oil went to an unsustainable level. And so what happened? Those same speculators that were being demonized by the pundits came in and said this price is ridiculous, and they pushed oil all the way down to $31 a barrel. I will be the first to tell you that some derivatives have deserved their bad rap. When the purpose of a derivative, in my mind, is solely to make money, is solely to gamble on price movement, where you don't really, there's a disconnect between your need to use them and just your belief that something's going to happen, therefore you need to be involved in them. Like we saw with credit default swaps, for example, I think then you have a bit of a danger zone there. What happened with energy is a pretty unique story. We had our blow up, we had our credit issue, our seizing of the engine actually when Enron went bankrupt in 2000. And the energy business self-regulated and self-righted itself. And it got stronger and more robust and fairer than ever. And all this was done without one congressional act. And can you imagine if the government had gone in back then and bailed out Enron? What happened with the energy industry 10 years ago was an example of capitalism wronging itself and then righting itself all by itself. There is no more product on the face of the earth that is more in demand than oil. Daniel Yergin, in his book The Prize, coined a phrase which I love and I use all the time. It's called hydrocarbon man, which is basically what we have become. The world runs so much on oil. It's not like reducing demand for salt, reducing demand for, caffeine or something like that. We need oil as much as we need air.